Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome to This Week in Anderson on the Big Guy Sports Podcast on USBN Sports. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Steve Ellis. Yep. And Steve, I'm really excited about our next guest. We actually went to high school with him, but we were the lonely little freshmen at the time. Right. Yeah. And he graduated with my brother, Moose. And just really excited to talk to Jerry about just what an unbelievable pitcher he was in Anderson. Can't wait to talk to Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry Wolf. If we do a podcast of top 10 pitchers,
absolutely,
this guy's going to be the top 5 for sure, and arguably even higher than that.
Yeah, and I got a story about him coming over to my house I'll talk a little bit about later, too. It's pretty funny. But as we said, joining us is Jerry Wolf. Jerry, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're really excited. So let's go back. We always kind of do this with everybody. I know you're on the best side of some of the states. So let's talk about what side of Anderson you grew up on.
I grew up in some of the states on the east side of 8 Mile. So on the same side with Mike Albers. Dan Albers here.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was always the best side, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. And you were talking right before we got in here. Your mom's still living at but 1966.
Yes,
that's when that subdivision kind of started, wasn't it? Around that time.
Hilltree was one of the first streets.
Really?
It was done there. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yes.
God, it was a great neighborhood. So it was just kind of like it was with all of us. I remember running around, and we had so many kids back then in our neighborhoods. Kind of the same way with you, just in the same area.
Oh yeah, I mean, I probably was in half the houses in some states. I mean, I was on my bike. I was on every street.
Yeah.
I had friends on every street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then going to Summit too, just driving up to Summit, and you had the baseball fields there. You could play there at any time you wanted.
Yeah, we'd get home from school about 3:30 in the afternoon, and there's that Baptist church between 8 Mile and Hilltree. And maybe a dozen of us would meet out there to play football. And by the time 4 o'clock rolled around, we had 50 guys out there.
Oh my gosh!
Yes,
that's crazy.
It got rough.
It did.
It was so competitive.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people we've interviewed that grew up in Summit.
Yeah,
you keep saying that. Yeah. No, but it is pretty wild. I mean, both sides of Summit.
You know what's funny is when we first moved in, my parents moved from Norwood to. We lived on Linderwood to start off with, and right at that time, they just were starting to build that side that you lived on. In the
far back of Summit.
LaValle and
what's all the streets?
Coran dead ends into Calgary.
Calgary. So all that was just starting to be built back, and that was like in the early 70s, I think.
Yeah, the house I lived in was built in 85.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy.
Adding on there, yeah. So all right. So you talked a little bit about playing football behind the church there. So when you were growing up, what sports did you play? We know you played some basketball and baseball, obviously, but growing up, what sports did you play?
Growing up, it was baseball, basketball, and soccer.
You played soccer?
Yeah.
All right.
I played all the way through probably my freshman year.
Did you?
Yeah, and just the rec leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my older brothers didn't play soccer and didn't even know what soccer was. and I played, and it was like totally foreign. I didn't know. I mean, it was just starting to catch, a fire as far as popularity.
I mean, you think about my brother Mike Moose played soccer too. I can't imagine now. I mean, back then it was, but those two playing soccer, and if it would have been on the same, you and Moose on the same, no way. Yeah. I just can't even imagine you guys.
We'd either wear wristbands for soccer.
Moose wore sweatbands. He wore sweatbands, headbands. He was a hot dog, man. He did that. He wore them all the time.
So which of those sports did you like? I mean, we know what you ended up being unbelievable at. Baseball was it?
My sport. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about growing up playing baseball. Who'd you play for, and who was your coach?
I started out in D2 Knothole, and I played for Ohio Blueprint.
Oh, yeah.
And from there, in the C1, C2, I played for Frank Rayburn. And he coached me all the way through A2.
Okay, I think I recognize that name.
And we actually won the league championship in B1.
Okay.
Over Midland Rams.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And then In B2, we came in third in the city tournament.
Wow.
And then in A1, we won our tournament, or our division then, because they didn't go to the city in the ones.
Right.
And A2, then we came in second in the city.
Okay.
And Joe Dayton was on that team with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So you were playing up.
Yeah, I played up for my age.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
When did you start playing up?
C2.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Playing a year or two ahead of myself.
Yeah. Do you remember where some of those games were?
The Firehouse.
There we go.
Firehouse was big, man.
Yeah.
That was big.
Where else?
Beach Acres.
Beach Acres, yeah.
Yeah. Maddox Elementary.
Maddox. What about
Wilson? Did you play at Wilson?
Played at Wilson.
What about Mount Washington Elementary?
We played a
played
few there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
And most of those are gone now.
Well, but the Firehouse was a big deal.
That was a huge deal.
That was always a big deal to play at the Firehouse.
One of those
I don't know
3
why.
fields, yeah.
You know, it was always cool to play at the Firehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were
well-
also soccer fields there, so we played a lot of
Oh
soccer
yeah,
there, too.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
And obviously those aren't there anymore. you
yeah,
know.
but it was such a cool thing because after games we'd walk up to Arthur Treacher's and
Arthur Treacher's. You know, most kids would go to convenient, get an icy. You go to Arthur Treacher's.
it was right there. You walked there.
Oh my gosh.
Big steak for. Thank you, Jerry. All right, so we'll get into the baseball part of it, but I want to go back into when you got into high school. What sports did you play besides baseball?
I was baseball and basketball.
Basketball. Okay, so did you play basketball at the middle school?
Yes, I did. I played 7th grade with for Henry Pell.
Henry Pell.
Pell,
yeah.
Yes.
And then our 8th grade was Jerry Frickman.
Yeah. They were long
the
stays.
staple,
They were
yeah.
there,
Yes, they
staples forever.
Yeah.
And did you have the tryouts in the old small little gym there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the gym auditorium.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, the brick wall right along the baseline there. Yeah, and then, so freshman year you played. Who was your
I
coach?
played Bud Lutterby.
Bud was the
Lutterby.
coach.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was, and Sanders was still there, right?
Yeah. Sanders
Okay.
was there.
Okay, and then sophomore year.
Sophomore, I played with Mike Center.
Okay.
I played maybe half the year, and then I came down with mono.
Did you really?
Yeah, so I missed the rest of the year, and then maybe the first week of baseball too.
Really?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So then junior year, did you play?
Junior year, I did not play because I played for Midland Cardinals the year before.
Okay.
And they were talking about taking us down to Puerto Rico for a tournament over Christmas.
Oh wow.
So I stayed out of basketball and just conditioned on my own.
Okay. Who was your coach for Midland for the Cardinals?
It was Kenny Elam.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
I recognize that name.
Larry Grafer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Brad played for them. My
Did
brother
he?
Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then you came back and played basketball at Anderson your senior year?
Yes, I
Is that
did.
correct?
Yeah, I was more the 10th man. I barely made it. With Gordon was
The new coach.
yeah.
Right.
Me and Chuck Gleason the summer before would beat the heck out of each other.
Okay.
You know, playing one-on-one.
Yeah.
Just trying to get in shape
Right.
to make the basketball team.
Okay.
So I was on it more for the conditioning and everything.
Yeah. That probably
Well, Moose did tell me. He
Yeah.
said that when Jerry came in the game, that at the time of the game we needed someone to get in there, get physical, and set some great picks. And he
Yeah,
said Jerry
I
would
did.
come in.
Really?
Yeah. He said he'd set the tone. He said when it started that we needed something momentum to go, whatever. Jerry'd come in, set a couple picks, bruise a couple people, he'd go back out, and then come back in again.
So he was the Bill Lambier of his era.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was sent in. Terry Gordon said I was the hit man on the team.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember the Forest Park game our senior year, and Kevin Dostal was a point guard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if he couldn't shake the point guard from Forest Park,
Yeah.
Okay.
Gordon says, "Get your ass in there and get him off of him." So I'd go in there, set a pick. First time the guy didn't know what hit him.
Of course.
Dostal got by and got a pass, and I think into Burdick, and Burdick scored a pretty good shot. And then the second time this guy saw me, and he just reared his shoulder right into me, and I didn't budge. Kind of bounced off me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sorry about
That's
that.
great.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
remember some of those games.
Yeah.
And I also did that with Mel Healthy.
Did he?
Almost got us into a fight.
Oh, yeah.
And those were always good games.
Yeah.
Mount
Yeah.
Healthy Healthy and Cole Raines and Oak Hills and.
Well, if I'm mistaken, Healthy was pretty good.
Yeah, they were.
But then they had to forfeit their bunch of games.
I remember some of the guys' names: Bedford, Davenport.
Nice call.
Bedford, Davenport, and there was one other guy.
Yeah.
There was 3 guys that were just.
Well, there was Fred Logan on the team.
Fred Logan. I just remember those.
Wow.
I just remember going to Mount going there and just how crazy the games were at the time, and they were great rivalries back then.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, the old Hamilton County League.
It was kind of funny because in that little skirmish we had with Mount Healthy, I show up to work one day and this guy comes up to me and says, "Are you Wolf?"
Oh, no.
I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you play for Anderson?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're the one that set the pick on me and we got all into town."
Really?
Yes.
No
Yes.
kidding.
Yes.
How about that?
I know.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So I still work with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. You remember that.
Yeah.
No, so let's go into baseball here. We know that you were a phenomenal pitcher.
Yep.
And I believe you started as a freshman on varsity. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Talk a little bit about that with the experience with the coaches and the players and anybody that's kind of really helped you, because to me as a freshman you got to be crapping your pants that you're playing but just have some you're not there with your freshman guys so how was that experience for you as a freshman?
Well, when I played A2 knothole, I was with Frank Rayburn, like I said, and then Mr. Harris, the principal.
Oh, yeah.
His son was on our team too.
Okay, Jeff, yeah.
So, Mr. Harris kind of had Chuck Bowman's ear.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey, this guy's pretty good."
Yeah.
And watchman tryouts and everything. And I did make the team then.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
That's crazy.
And I even started the very first game that we played.
No kidding.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Wow. I mean, oh my God.
So I'm a freshman, and he throws me against the number 1 team in the city. Elder.
Is that right?
Elder, yes.
Really?
How'd it work out?
We lost 5-3.
Okay.
But the coach for Elder walked up to Mr. Bowman and said, "Where were you hiding that guy?" He said, "In the 8th grade."
That's funny. So were you as tall and as big? I mean, were you filled out? Did you hit your growth?
I
thing
quit
then?
growing probably about my sophomore year.
Really?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
6'2". I thought you were, for some reason I kept thinking you were bigger than that, like taller.
You're thinking Bill Chester.
No, I remember Chester. I remember Chester. Well, the one thing, before we start getting more into your career, the one thing I wanted to bring up was he came over to the house. He was friends with Moose, and he comes over to the house, and I, of course, was talking crap, and I said, this kid, I want to see this, whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, I stand up there, and he throws me I about ran in the house. He threw a curveball to me, and it looked like it was coming right at my face, and it was like perfect right there. I mean, it was, and then he threw me a fastball, and I was like, that's why my baseball career sucked.
You've mentioned that, Danny. You mentioned that, but you did hit a home run for Summit Tigers.
Yeah, D1. I think it was D1.
Yeah.
I had those big black thick glasses on back then. That was what did it. So,
no fences that went between the third baseman's legs and then through the left fielder's
Oh,
legs.
yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Friendly
exactly right.
scorebook keeper.
So what do you like? Some of the was there any guys that like stuck out with you that helped you when you were a freshman, or coaches? Anybody else that kind of stuck out to you? Because I'm trying to remember who that would have been when you were.
Well, that was Brad's class.
Brad's class.
Yeah.
Brad was.
Brad Ellis.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else was on that team.
I can't remember who the catcher was.
Mark Corona.
Yes, Mark Corona's the catcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At first base, I think it was Joe Dayton.
You know what? I'm thinking my cousin might have been on that team. Fritz Banky. Was he on that
Fritz
team?
was. Yes,
Yeah.
That was my cousin. Yeah, I thought he was on that team.
Yes.
All right.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah. How about that?
And I mean, and back then they did the Best of the East, Beats of the East, or whatever they did that. I
Best
remember
of the
that.
East,
Yeah. Under the lights.
It was what, Anderson, Turpin, McNick, and Glen Estee?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I wish they'd do that again.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Who else was there? Quinn Newhall.
Quinn Newhall.
He was in the outfield.
I don't remember him.
You remember him?
No.
Who else was on that team? Who else? I'm trying to remember who.
Dean Tidball.
Dino, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I think Brian Kenny was already gone.
That's just crazy. I mean, just to think about that.
Sam Tilford.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
chunk ball pitcher.
So not only that, playing high school, but so you said you played for Midland. So when did you start playing for Midland? How early?
Right after I got out of A2 knothole. So I started playing for Midland my freshman year.
Really?
So I played for the Midland Indians, and then my sophomore year was with Midland Cardinals.
I didn't even know they had the Cardinals back then. I just thought it was always the Redskins.
Yeah.
And then 2 years with the Redskins.
Is that what's the difference between the three? I mean, was it
age?
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they still do that? Or is it just...
I don't know if they do. Papa Joe's out of it. I mean, he's passed away, unfortunately. But, I mean, I know Redskins was always the top team.
Still, I know that still is in effect, but I didn't know if they still kind of do. But there's so many select teams now, it doesn't really matter. Not like it was back in the day.
Right. Right. So when you're going through high school, obviously you had a great career, starting as a freshman, going all the way up, which is extremely rare. When you're going into, I guess maybe your junior year, going into your senior year, was that about the time when you started getting recruits?
Yes.
Some phone calls, letters.
Letters every day.
Yeah.
I still got a stack of them. Probably.
Is that right? Because let's be clear. There was no social media or cell phones back then. So it was letters mainly.
Letters mainly, and then my senior year, I was getting phone calls almost every night.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How cool was that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Every day getting a letter from somewhere.
And then what about at the games, when the games started, were you starting to get
there were a lot every day? There were a lot of scouts
pro scouts
too, yeah.
God, I can't even
Michigan coaches were there, Ohio State, most of the closer in colleges were at those games.
So you went to Michigan, though, right?
Yeah, I went to Michigan.
All right, so how did that transpire? How did you get to Michigan or get convinced to go there, or was that just a favorite that you had?
No, it really wasn't a favorite. I was recruited by a whole bunch of people. I made college visits to Indiana, Ohio State, Clemson, Michigan, Miami. So it boiled down to between Michigan and Clemson.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So, I can't help but think about some of the Michigan players. Who were some of the Michigan players you played with that were?
Larkin.
Played with Larkin?
Hal Morris.
Nice.
Yeah. Jim Abbott, the one-handed pitcher, was up there with me.
Wow, man.
That's right. He did go to Michigan. Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
There were a few others that made it to the big leagues they were junior, seniors when I was a freshman.
Okay.
I left a year before, or I was there the year after Sabo left. Chris Sabo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So when you're pitching up there, tell us about your career there, and then I'm anxious to hear what hitters you faced that went on to play in the majors.
Will Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
He was at Mississippi State?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Wow. Geek.
Yeah.
Who else?
I don't really recall many hitters that I know that made it to the pros.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you start the whole time in Michigan, or?
No, I was most relief.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like that, or?
Yeah, I did. The very first time he brought me in relief, I was a freshman. Brought me in with no outs, bases were loaded.
Oh,
and it was tie. It was a tie game.
Welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah, right. I can't remember. I can't remember who it was against. It was against another Michigan team, Western Michigan or somebody.
Okay.
And the first batter I struck out on a curveball.
Yeah, that curveball, that nasty curveball.
Yeah, the second batter popped out, fouled to the third baseman, and the next batter struck out again on a curveball.
Nice.
I love it.
And then we came up in the bottom of the inning and won it.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was my first win in college.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And we talked briefly, and Moose kind of suggested, or he thought that your first win or first start maybe was at the Metrodome.
Yeah.
Beat Minnesota.
Yeah. My first start was my junior year, and we were playing in the Wheaties champion tournament.
Okay.
Tournament of Champions, and the coach saw we were playing Panama's Olympic team.
Oh, wow.
And he said they're free swingers. They love the fastball. So he put me in to start because, the curveball's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
So I ended up pitching the whole game against them.
Wow.
Beat them 11-2.
Wow,
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was a real neat feeling playing in
I bet.
Major League
man.
Stadium like that.
Yeah.
Was there a big crowd there? Or?
There was about 20,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we ended up winning the whole tournament. I think we beat Miami of Florida
Did
in
you
the
really?
final game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I ask, did you ever get in at bat?
I did. That was when we were winning big, and
Yeah.
he back then they had the re-entry rule.
Yeah.
So, we would go up, hit, and then fielders would go back out.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
What'd you do?
ground to the pitcher.
You made contact.
I
you
made
did.
contact, but I didn't strike
You
out.
did make contact. That's great.
So after you got done playing at Michigan, was there any thoughts, or did you continue to play baseball?
I
Or?
played baseball all the way till I was 35.
Okay.
Jeez,
Yeah.
please.
Played in the Cincinnati Rec League, 19 and up.
Okay.
A lot of college players home for the summer were playing that league.
Yeah.
And we did eventually win a couple of state titles.
Really?
Playing in that league. Yeah. Our home games were mostly over at,
Was it Schmidt?
no, what's the park over there, Forest Road?
Oh,
Behind Air.
Veterans Park?
Behind
Isn't that
Air.
Veterans Park?
Yeah, it's Forest Road Park or Veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our home field.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's close for you.
Yeah.
I mean, nice and convenient. So, are you still are you in town? Where do you live?
I live in Cold Spring, Kentucky. So
Okay.
by NKU.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, for everybody that hasn't seen or heard from you in a while, just like us, so give us an update on your family and if you got any kids and ages and all that.
Yeah, I've got 3 kids all grown and out of the house.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my oldest is in human resources. She lives up in Westchester.
Okay.
My son is a consultant for nonprofit organizations, and he lives in Mason right now. He's wanting to move back to D.C.
Oh, wow.
And my youngest is working on, almost got her doctorate degree in biology at Indiana.
No kidding.
And she may have a chance to go to Harvard to get her postdoctorate.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I don't
That's
know where
impressive.
she got it from, but
And you said your mom still lives in your house.
my mom still lives in the house I grew up in. Yeah,
Isn't that something?
That's crazy.
I'm still going over there once or twice a week, do yard work. And,
Wow,
and,
That's awesome. And your sister graduated with us.
Yeah,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yeah. How's she doing?
good. She's a teacher over in Boone County Schools.
Oh, is she?
She lives over in Union.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not too far from you then.
no.
Wow.
So the whole family's still here.
Did you have any when you were at Michigan? Did you get the draft with Major League Draft or anything like that? Did anybody pursue you on that at all?
No.
Or was it no?
No, I didn't throw hard enough. I mean, I threw about 90 when I was in high school, but then getting into college, coach was screwing my mechanics and everything. I kind of lost some velocity from
Did
that.
you?
So,
Well, what about? Do you know if you've got? Because it just stinks that Anderson hasn't been able to keep a lot of their records and everything. Do you know if you had to have been up in the top, whatever, at Anderson at one point for strikeouts or ERA or anything?
Or
like
wins.
that?
You pitched for 4
wins,
years. Yeah.
yeah.
You have to be up there as one of the.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we didn't have very good teams back then.
Okay.
Maybe 500.
But strikeouts. I mean,
Yeah,
you would have to be up there.
I know. I know. In the Best East tournament, playing against McNick, I had 18 strikeouts
Jeez, oh, Pete.
against them
That's crazy.
under the lights.
Under the
They're
lights.
probably the same crappy lights I got up there now.
But the field's in better shape.
Is it? Yeah.
They got grass in there now. And dugouts.
Was there any guy that you remember in high school that stood out that you remember that was just a heck of a ball player that you went against, that faced against maybe?
Trying to think who was in that era.
Well, I'm sure watching Joe Dayton play was
Joe-
awesome. I'm
Joe
sure.
was a hell of a hitter.
Oh yeah, South Carolina.
Yeah.
What about Benzinger? Tom Benzinger. Is he older than you?
He's older than me. Yeah.
What about the guy from Woodward?
Durham?
Leon Durham.
Leon Durham? I played with his half brother on Midland.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Billy Dorn. No,
Skeeter Barnes.
Larritz.
There you go. Okay.
I
tough.
Played 3 years against him.
Yeah. He's probably, I'm sure he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Just a tad.
Yeah. No, that's good. So let's just try to wrap this up a little bit and we always try to do like your favorite memories, like your favorite high school memory, college, and then maybe go back to your favorite teacher or coach. So let's start off with your favorite high school memory.
Favorite high school memory was probably the 18 strikeout performance I had against Minnick.
Had to be. That's awesome.
There was, I don't know, both first base stands and third base stands were full, including behind the backstop too.
Yeah.
So those are the most people I've ever seen at one of our games before.
Right.
So that was really neat. Also, I threw a no-hitter that year against Northwest.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Mike was reminding me about who was pitching against us. It was Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
I think he went into the pros.
Yeah. That sounds familiar.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So he was telling me how we won the game too. I didn't remember this.
Of course Moose does. Yeah.
Of course, it was 0-0 in the 7th inning. We only had a couple of hits.
Yeah.
And Steve Masterson came up and hit a triple. And then he was on third base. And when Brewer went into his windup, the wind blew his hat off and he stopped his windup
on a ball.
No way.
Yeah.
How about that?
Wow.
Wow, that's
that's crazy.
That's a great story.
Well, and I think Moose also brought up one. I'm not sure if I kind of remember this vaguely a little bit. It was either in a tournament or something, or you played Elder, and it was another one of those games kind of like that where it was low scoring. And
that was that was senior year. That was the very first game we had. And it was against Elder up at what's the park that
you guys won, right?
Yeah, we won 1-0.
Yeah.
I had all the scouts there and everything for that game.
Yeah, Moose. I remember them telling me, and then we had Mike Wan on, and he was kind of telling me about between you and then talking about Ty Burdick and just the clan that you guys had, and but I mean I remember as a freshman just going to those games and watching. It was fun to watch all you guys.
Yeah.
So what about your college memory? Favorite college memory?
Probably the game in the Metrodome.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was great. Just basically shut him out. I gave up a 2-run homer, and that was it.
God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. What about Coach Bowman? What was it like playing for Coach Bowman?
He was kind of a no-nonsense guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, he'd get mad when we wouldn't hit the ball or if we had base running blunders or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I liked him a lot. And then in our senior year, we had Lynn Moore.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
a drastic difference between the two, between Bowman and Moore, or was it pretty much
Moore was more laid back.
Way more laid back.
Yeah.
And I just for the note for everybody, I was in love with Molly Moore, his daughter.
I got to write that down.
I was in love with her. Whenever Moose would have parties or I made sure that I was in love with her.
Think she knows that?
I'm sure Moose told her.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that in real quick.
How about a favorite teacher? Because we ask this and we get a lot of common answers, but what about a favorite teacher at Anderson?
Favorite teacher was Norma Evans.
Oh, Miss Evans.
Yeah. That was my homeroom teacher.
Like marriage and civics.
Oh,
yeah. She was more the government stuff.
Government classes. Yeah.
Teens in Law.
Yeah.
Teens in Law. I remember that class.
Yeah.
What about skills for independent living?
No, that was Miss O'Brien. Kay O'Brien. Yeah.
But I had her for homeroom for 4 years.
Okay.
And then, a few classes here and there.
Yeah.
Her and I had a really good rapport.
Okay.
And probably my favorite coach at Anderson was probably Mr. Lutterby.
Really?
Coach Bud.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good, he coached me in football and good guy. And then he wasn't coaching basketball.
No, that when we were there. Yeah. So did you have any thoughts at all of playing football?
That's funny because I tried playing 8th grade football and I think the coach was Mr. Pierce.
Mr. Pierce. No.
And Mr. Eads.
I remember Eads.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I tried it, and I quit before the season even started.
You weren't interested, or
I
Just figured out that it wasn't for
well,
you.
he would always put me against a guy named Dan Wheeler.
oh,
Remember
big
Dan?
Dan,
yeah.
oh
Big Dan.
yeah.
God.
So in tackling drills, I was the tackling
oh,
dummy
neat.
for
Yeah,
Dan.
I'd quit
Yeah.
too. I'd quit too.
Yeah.
I'd quit too.
And I was getting killed.
Yeah. Dan was a beast.
Yeah.
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 So, so then my freshman year, my first year, I had Mr. Letterby for biology, and he called me out in the hallway and says, "You're going to play football for us, aren't you?" I looked down and said, "No, I don't think so." The next day, he said, "Well, will you consider playing basketball?" I said, "Yeah, I'll do that."
Funny. You know, that's funny. Back in the day, that's how they had to get football players. Because I remember Stowe walking around the hallway, and that's what Stowe would do. He'd walk around during, as everybody's going to class, and I remember that's how he got me to play. He just grabbed me on the shoulders. "Come on, Albert, you're gonna play football." I'm like, "No, I've never played football in my life." I'm like, and he ended up getting me to play. And that's back then. We didn't have a lot of kids that wanted to play football back then because we weren't really good.
Yeah.
And it was a lot back then. But
So 135 pounds. That's why he didn't ask me.
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, skinny.
He just walked right
he's like
past me.
past you. You and I were walking together. He pushed you off to the side.
Yeah, a
You know
little
what I'm
bit.
saying?
Yeah. I was a water boy.
Yeah. So, Jerry, man, it's been a pleasure just talking to you and catching up, man. It's like we were just talking. We haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah,
I think it was probably the side yard was the last time I saw you, pitching that curveball
He
to
still
me.
has nightmares.
I do. I mean, I literally ran. I mean, that was.
I just happened to run into Mike last week at La Rosa's.
Is that right?
That's what, I couldn't remember where he told me he saw you, and then he called me. He goes, "I got someone for you." And I'm like, "Oh, that would be awesome if you can get on and text me the number." And I'm like, "Sweet." I mean, that would be cool. So I'm glad he.
Another guy you might want to think about is Rich Dotson.
We got him.
We already got him.
You did him?
Yeah, you got to go watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that like almost 2 years ago. You got to check it out. It's a
It was
really good.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we, and anybody else you can think of, just let us know because we, sometimes people like Mike did, we got a list and then we, try to get more people as we can, and we're like, oh, I forget, so that was great that he got a hold of us. So we appreciate you coming in.
Yeah,
and actually driving over here too. So
Yes.
we appreciate that.
I appreciate it. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Jerry.
Yeah, really good to catch up. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So for Steve Ellis, Dan Albers, and Jerry Wolf, you've been watching This Week in Anderson. We'll catch you next week.